Good afternoon. Happy Friday. This is Sean LaBelle of the Dekker Hewett Group. So that correction that we saw unfolding in the first few weeks of January has obviously continued here into this week. Definitely a little bit more pronounced here now in the last few days. We did see an attempted breakout out of the major indices on Thursday, but that quickly reversed, which obviously spilt into Friday. So this week's Market Watch Weekly just runs through the commentary as to why we were seeing this current period of volatility. At the heart of it all, it is just because the central banks around the world will be looking to raise interest rates here in the coming weeks and months. That has a lot of investors sort of running to the doors as far as those high growth names are concerned. So this week's Market Watch Weekly runs through that. It also looks at the prior sort of tightening cycles that we have seen in recent years. And the data supports that you don't necessarily need to consider this to be the end of the bull market. It's actually quite the opposite of that. As obviously the evidence will suggest, prior tightening cycles are just in the early innings of these sort of bull markets that we've been talking about at length here. You do see just a pickup in volatility here in the short term, but it's nothing that investors should be concerned about as far as a long-term time horizon. So again, a lot of this is also somewhat attributed to the fact that 2021 was a very, very quiet year in terms of volatility. We only had the one period of a very, very brief 5% pullback. I believe it was around 5.8%, but it only lasted for a few days. So you're getting that to spill over now into 2022, where we are seeing a bit more of a pronounced pullback. The NASDAQ is down around 12% from its highs. That's actually a full correction at this point, while the S&P and the Dow are probably around 8%. So it's a pullback, but it's not a full-blown correction or anything like that. So this week's Market Watch Weekly just runs through some of that data in those technical terms. Again, at the heart of all of this is the tightening cycle, but that doesn't necessarily mean an end of a bull market. Again, the opposite of that. The economy and the global economies, for that factor, are all growing. Corporate profits are near record highs. So there's no reason to get too bearish here. It's just been a long time since we've seen a correction of this magnitude. Again, it's going back to March of 2020. So people tend to sort of forget that these corrections are natural and part of a normal functioning market. So we attempt to walk you through all of that in this week's Market Watch Weekly. We'll end it there. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and we will talk to you next week. Cheers.